That's what you're gonna go.
All right, it's 6:30. We'll call the meeting to order and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic, state, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice.
Can you take notes and roll call and stuff?
I leave her.
That's Dan wants to do it.
What we want to do?
Notes and take roll,
Oh, I can if you'd like.
if you don't mind.
Roll call. Meyer,
Present.
Lawson,
Here.
Ed Brand,
Here.
Stacy Hills. And Judy.
And Chris is excused. All right, so we have a quorum. Looking for a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
Motion to approve agenda?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Swear in members. Who's doing that? Yay, kumbaya.
I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear.
Faith.
Faithfully perform the duties of my office on the redevelopment committee. Will support
Ability.
all state and the town of Portsmouth.
Hereby.
Hereby.
I hereby affirm that I will perform the duties of this public trust. Fair, equitable, ethical. May God.
Thank you.
Amen.
Did we get any documents or anything?
Somebody said something about a check.
Is this a frameable, it's frameable? Oh.
Throw things all over the place.
Get under control.
Okay.
Well, I know.
Is it our fifth
It
year?
is your fifth year.
We should get a frame then.
You should,
5
shouldn't you?
years in.
5 years?
Yeah,
No worries.
You serious?
yeah, you're 6 years.
Am I? I need a raise. Wait a minute. Yeah. I got it.
You have time there.
I'm good, thank you.
Got a spare seat up here if you want.
You're up here enough, right?
Okay, next is to select a president.
Nominate Scott Meyer.
Second.
Oh,
Hear that train go through?
yeah, sure did.
If you really want to do it again, Scott.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. That's done. We have to vote on that? Oh, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Nominate a vice president. Who's our vice president?
Nominate Amy Lawson.
Yeah. Second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. And a secretary.
Well, since Chris is not here, he gets to be nominated for secretary.
Sure does.
Second.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Congratulations, Chris. Okay, consider approving the minutes from December 19th.
Motion to approve minutes from December 19th.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Abstain. I wasn't there.
Oh, aye. Motion carries. Alrighty. Old business, we have none. New business, we have consider authorizing funding for a traffic signal at the intersection of Broadway and Ohio.
All right. So for the record, I'm Adam Zaklikowski, the Planning and Building Director for the town of Fortville.
Going to walk through the whole ECMS Inc.
No, I'm not going to walk through the whole thing, but I'll give you an overview. So at the southeast corner of Ohio and Broadway, there is a gas station and I'd say larger than usual convenience store that will also accommodate some personal services, maybe office suites. That's been contemplated for this area for quite a couple of years. And I still think they may need to go through the plan commission for site plan approval. I don't recall exactly where we left off in the process, but they've got their zoning in place. The holdup is that, at least from their point of view, one of the things that was required is that they do a traffic study for the project. And the traffic study, which is included in your packet, basically there's a little bit of widening that has to happen on Broadway and I think on Ohio Street as well. But the major expense is the need for a traffic signal at that intersection. And so the town is under no obligation to fund a traffic signal there, since it's warranted from the development. But at the same token, the RDC can either fund the entire cost or could participate in the funding. We don't know exactly how much it would cost. We don't have a cost estimate. I would say ideally the traffic signal would look like the kind that you see out at Maple and Broadway that was just put up with a mast arm, illuminated street signs and a little bit of lighting. And we're told from INDOT that could cost in the range of about $300,000 to do that. So it's one of the items for consideration from the developer as to whether or not they want to go forward with the project and if it can bear that cost. But they did want us to check with you to see if that'd be something that the RDC would be interested in participating in with funding.
Adam, is this a project that our MPO representative could be involved in to help fund that?
That's a good question. I'd say potentially. They've helped secure federal funding in the past for traffic signals. So it's possible. I would say the only trade-off with that is that it can take some time to secure that funding and go through with procuring the funding, as you know, but it could be an option.
I think this would be an avenue that we should research.
Sure.
Did you sign in? And I was remiss. I didn't say hello to Mr. Intermill. Alex?
Okay, we actually advertised for RFPs for the Broadway project that came out today. That's for the trail, the section of the trail that the council was on board with moving forward. That includes the intersection of Madison down to Ohio Street. That's section 4 of our trail system. And I might get these numbers backwards. 5 would be from that intersection down to Bill Camus is pretty much where he stopped the trail. So it would make that connection. And then the 6th one would be, it goes on up to Windstone where that trail is. So it would tie all that together. The other part of the scope of work is including the part of the South Madison Boulevard where that intersection hits Broadway. So that all needs to be planned and have traffic studies and all the permitting through NDOT and everything to make that happen. So even if Loth would have started that project, we would have still had probably a year or two setback waiting to get all this through the process. So with this RFP, we're going to go ahead and do that work. This is all being funded through the MPO at 90%. So the town is obligated for 10% of the cost of all this. I don't think they included the traffic.
Well, is that something that if we would pay the upfront cost, that we could get reimbursed for that down the road?
Very clear. We do more before they give us notice.
Hold on a minute, your mic just died. Yeah. You had a breath mint? I know mine goes out all the time because I don't have one.
There's trouble.
Batteries and all. Yeah, it's showing it's dead.
Maybe you're talking too much.
It might be.
Well, now, well, that answers the MPO question, yes. Okay,
Take it because. we're
Now-
looking at the- if you go to gas station or office, could be air traffic, ingress and egress. Without a light, it causes get them out there. I'm just.
I think, and Adam can correct me if I'm wrong, but I was thinking that, this, didn't they back out? I was thinking that they said that this light was gonna make it where it wasn't feasible unless, they got some help putting the light in, probably. So that's where we kind of got to thinking, well, if the light is the holdup for developing this corner, if they don't do it, that corner may not get developed because the next person will have to do it. And
Yeah.
You might push out the same.
well, if, is there any way that, they would withstand some of this cost?
So it's a gas station convenience that wants to go in there?
I believe that. Purposes. They're close to the gas.
So there'll be other retail in there too.
They're really hoping for another pizza place. Five is not really enough.
Now, let's just, throw a synopsis out here. Let's say, they agree to half and we agree to half. And after this all gets planned and done, what if they back out? Are they obligated to that?
I think that's a chance we take. I mean, if we decide to do it, I would hope that we would do it with the thoughts that we're gonna help this property develop, whether it's them or somebody else. If we go into it with a commitment where they have to, or they're gonna pay for part of it, and we're gonna pay for part of it, then I'm sure Alex can write something up to kind of put some claw back in on that.
I don't know why. I mean, how comfortable are we that 300,000 is a realistic number?
That number actually come from our engineer. That was the number he threw out.
So
And that was kind of going with the same traffic light and stuff that we've already put up. Now, part of the trail system, whether it's part of the engineering that's going on that we're advertising currently, if there's gonna end up being like a crosswalk with a push button and stuff at that intersection, I don't know that he included that, and that may not come into play until the trail goes in. And I will say too, the cost of the trail is still undetermined. I mean, you're talking about a project that's gonna be 10 years down the road, so cost goes up and, you know, it's trying to figure out what that's gonna be. But with the, MPO funding, as of right now, it's 90%. We're paying 10%. But the other thing that's gonna help cut that cost down, once we get this project designed and it's in the books and how it's supposed to be built, all this property here between Madison Street and Town Hall is subject to be developed. There's a couple people's bought all speculating because when the property in the back goes and Mercier goes that this will all develop, they'll be required to put that trail in. Same thing with the convenience store that goes in. I don't know if I should call it a convenience store or whatever. We'll require them to put the trail in at that property too. So then the town would just have to come in and fill in the pieces in between.
So a $300,000 investment in that particular intersection is gonna make all the right-of-way things happen. Maybe a separate turn lane if that's designed into, I mean, or is that just
Yeah,
hanging
I
a
don't
light
know.
on it?
I think you guys have the traffic study, so I'm not sure what it talks about. And I think the convenience store, they were only gonna allow them to have a right in and right out. Just because of, the proximity to the intersection.
So this report satisfies DOT?
I hadn't seen it. I didn't realize we had it. I apologize.
Yes, I believe it does.
Okay, so DOT won't have to do their study or anything.
No,
Yeah, they typically just.
I don't know that they've, I'm not 100% certain that they've formally adopted it, but they've gone back and forth a few times with the state, and that's the newest version. And consistently, it's talked about the need for a light. So the major element of it is not being contested. My
Well,
knowledge.
for some reason, they didn't authorize this. And then they done a study and said there's not a traffic light warranted there, then what?
Well, and I think I was mistaken. I think when I talked to you, they said that there wasn't a warrant done because that's what this is. That's the traffic study. Shows that a light is warranted if the development happens on that corner. I didn't realize that already been done. That was a requirement from NDOT as they were moving through the process. And I'm pretty sure that project was already approved through the planning commission.
Yeah, actually, I think it was a local, now I remember it was a local requirement that the plan commission attached to the project as part of their conditions of approval.
Okay. Has NDOT seen the study and everything?
Yeah,
Agreed?
that's
Okay.
the newest one.
Okay, so NDOT's on board with that
Right.
study.
Yeah, to be clear, if there's no development there, it's not warranted. It's not warranted right now. But the size of that development and the mixture of uses and of course, the amount of traffic that it's generating is what's causing the need for it. And
There's no
it
road.
doesn't, and for the road widening, that would not be included in this, that the developer would have to pay for that.
So at this point, it's more of a commitment that we would be willing to pay for this if they develop. If they don't develop, there's no light.
Correct.
Unless you guys want to go ahead and put it in for the next person and make the lot buildable.
Well, but if we make a commitment for one person, why wouldn't we keep that commitment for the
Right.
next person?
Well, and keep in mind, you don't have to make a decision on this tonight. We just wanted to get it in front of you to, as we're not pushing to have an answer right away, but
Well,
I'm sure the developers are anxious.
I think my point would just be that if it's not developed and I don't know how long it is before we have another developer interested. So do we put in an extra light in town when it's not really warranted
I don't,
for it to just,
Well, and the state would not allow it to go in if it's not warranted.
Okay.
So,
does anybody have any heartburn with a commitment?
Which might be one of the.
Oh, are we at the question period?
Make your decision. That's what so that report doesn't say that, is it taking in consideration what's happening across the street there at CJ's old place? As far as traffic's concerned, because that's gonna come to fruition sometime here soon. So if you think about that, before the proposed gas station even happens, is that enough to warrant the traffic signal to be there? And that probably wasn't even considered in that, was it?
it probably, that I don't know. I would speculate it probably wasn't.
But I think from our perspective, if we make a commitment that we're interested, it wouldn't matter what drives that. If this group says, yeah, we'd be willing to participate or just do it, then I think that's kind of a carte blanche, whoever moves first, if the light's necessary. We're
But
in.
if the study didn't include CJs, it's
Yeah.
kind of hard to, after the fact.
Yeah, I do know that as part of these traffic studies, they do make assumptions on other land uses and other background traffic. But I don't know for a fact, that they, incorporated that corner at all with a lot of detail, if that makes sense. So, and
Question for
they
you.
probably did not know because the Pizza King proposal that's going in there is not, I don't think that was even known at the time that they
Probably not.
started this study.
And that might even change. I don't know if they can grandfather what they have,
Yeah.
but their entrance might change there if there's a traffic light put in there too. They might have to change the location of that entrance,
Possibly, yeah.
at least one of them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Alex, a question for you. Is this RDC money that we can use this for?
Yes, 100%.
Okay,
We buy the last traffic light.
I don't know.
We bought a
You
traffic
spend
light.
money like crazy. I don't know what you spend it on.
We bought a traffic light before, or we paid to upgrade it, make it the pretty version.
Well, we are kind of bougie like that.
This would, what you said, Adam, it would match the lights we currently have out there at Broadway and Madison.
Yeah, conceivably, they could do a cheaper version of it, like on wires, with just a galvanized pole. But like you said, I'd like to say for the record as well that we are bougie in the town of Fortville, and I would be in full support of doing the same style that's already there on
If it's not
Broadway.
on gold, then we may not be in, but,
I think you do want.
well, sure. So Dan,
Yeah,
would you be
one of the
in
first
support of
things.
that? Okay. Ed, would you be in support? Would you be in support of it?
Well, ideally,
Amy?
if you were willing at this point to just commit to a dollar figure, say a 300,000, if you felt comfortable with that, then we could add it to our list of commitments. And then once we get better numbers that come in, either higher or lower, then we'd obviously show you, so you know exactly what it is. But
Oh, we're not taking an official vote, but everyone here is on board with a $300,000 potential commitment for that.
I guess I'm gonna go back to what you said about DJs. It doesn't appear that in consideration.
And if you have that, but I don't know that the traffic is much.
Again, who paid for this one? The developer did, or we did? Who paid for it?
developer.
Hard to go back to them to ask them to do it and they need CJs, so I'm making sure I'm picking everything up.
Yeah.
I don't think it really matters who needs the light. If the light comes to fruition as a need, then.
Okay.
Okay.
So then, yeah, I would say if you want to take a vote on it, then we can add it onto our RDC liabilities spreadsheet.
I'll make a motion to commit $300,000 to the traffic signal at the intersection of Broadway and Ohio Street.
second.
You got it, Ed.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Carries. Next, RDC to consider adopting a project priority list.
Okay, so.
So we just kind of took care of that.
Yeah, ironically,
Probably
this
also-
was- This is
Look at us.
one of the items on the list, so we can check that off. But so what I had mentioned to you all is that as you see, you have, the RDC has about 3.5 million available non-committed funds for use, with probably an additional 1.8 million that would come in this year. And there are a variety of major capital expenditures that have been contemplated over the years utilizing some RDC funding. And so in order to keep the focus on using the money wisely and not be reactionary, I wanted to propose that the RDC as a majority come up with your top three main priorities, really to focus our efforts and expenditures in 2025. So everybody, I'm sure, has their own viewpoint on things. I know there's some things that Joe wanted to accomplish that we've got on the list, and I'll let him speak to that. I would say, just from a planning perspective, the three items that I had would be, I've always been in support of purchasing some of the empty lots in the existing business park, just because that land is shovel ready, and it can allow the town to have control of that and use it as a bargaining chip in trying to lure some businesses into that shovel ready area. And lastly, on that point, the business park has been there since 2003 or so. So it's been quite a while. In my view, it's the demand is there. It's just a matter of trying to get it from the owner to a buyer and trying to make something happen. The second item that I had on my end was a mural at 106 South Main. This is that blue building. It's called Prana IV Hydration and Wellness. It used to be Camera Dentistry. And so for that project, I have no idea how much it would cost. We're going to have a Zoom meeting tomorrow about it with the property owner. And I wouldn't expect the RDC to pay the full thing. Probably be a mix of funds. But that'd be one project that I think would be worthwhile. And then the last one for me was the traffic light. So I know Joe, I'll let Joe speak about the importance of some of the other projects as well.
Okay, I'm back. Thanks for having me back. I think when Adam was going through the commitment list, I don't know that it was brought up the $8 million that was committed for the Loth project. So I know that if that project comes back, we're hoping that commitment will still be there to help put the infrastructure in to make that happen too. So that's part of your South Madison Street project. It's on there. In my opinion, that's going to be probably one of the top projects, as long as we have somebody interested, and I'll let Adam go into it, but we did hear today that somebody did take an option on the property, and they're looking to do pretty much what was approved. So we'll keep
On the South Madison?
Yeah.
Okay.
So keep your fingers crossed. Something might come around. We may never hear things, so we'll keep you informed when we hear.
Now. So we
Right.
wouldn't have to come up with the back and the front, just be forced to cover debt service for 20.
Yeah, and I think once you determine the project list and how you want to build out and how you want to do it, there could be a few other projects you incorporate into a bond, or you can, do it as you get cash to move forward. A couple of the other projects that I had asked to put on there, south of town, the high school and all the new housing development, everything, it is, all the sewer there is getting pumped up through Old Town. It's getting pumped through the TIF district and through Old Town, and it's taken up capacity that is actually should be meant for the redevelopment, the TIF area. Because the way I wish we'd had it on a map here, but the way it's structured, there's several streams that run through there. So we've got a plan to where there's like a regional sewer system between each stream, and anything north of, I can't remember what that ditch is called out there, but it might be, it's anything, it's down there 900 pretty much is where the ditch crosses. So anything there north is in part of our TIF district. And there's no capacity really to dump anything into the existing sewer. And we've got more houses going in south of town. And as they go in, they're going to take up space. And honestly, if nothing else happens, we're kind of behind the 8 ball on that one anyway. And we need to get a lift station, another regional lift station out there, get the sewer pumped over to 300 and up to 67, where we've already got a sewer main under the railroad and under the highway going straight to the sewer plant. So that would create some capacity, I guess it would be for the TIF area.
For those, Joe, if we're gonna add lift stations and other things, is that one where we go out and get a state revolving fund loan if we can, or do we just? I'm just
It's,
trying to get. a
it's
price.
however you'd want to do it. I mean, it's that project, I don't know what that would cost. I'm guessing that one's gonna be around 2 million, maybe a little more. So if you want to, bond that, and Alex, jump in there if I say something that they can't cover. I'm thinking that we had this discussion and it was something that the RDC could fund.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Joe. You're right. I mean, this clearly would be, even though some of the infrastructure would not be within the boundaries of the TIF district, it benefits the TIF district by freeing up capacity and growth there. So I'm comfortable that this is permissible.
Now, there's another sewer, I don't know that Adam included that, but where actually our sewer territory goes down to 650 north. There's not a 650 north here, but halfway between 600 and 700 is where our sewer territory ends. We've got developers knocking on our door that's interested in property south of 234, and they want a tie into that sewer. So again, there's a section of sewer there that would be extended down, and then we can almost gravity all the way to 700. But I would not ask the RDC for that because it's not going to benefit the TIF. So, but if that does happen and we develop it, that's going to take up even more space, which puts more pressure on needing to get this particular regional lift station put in.
That picks, of course, you pick one with traffic signal, and I'll go along with the infrastructure, and I'm gonna say the south side regional lift station and the 1,000 north lift station, and that would be my three.
And that's good. I'm glad you mentioned that. And if I could, on the 1,000 lift station out there, you've got the map in front of you. So if you see there where the sewer ends going west is in front of Deaton's place out there. That's where the sewer is extended to the west. Our sewer territory goes out to 400 west. So what we've done is we got to looking at that and trying to put a system in there that would handle all that property between 1,400 and railroad tracks. So that big triangle. Get a lift station out there where we can start pumping them back. We've got some residential builders that want to purchase those properties on the end down there, but getting sewer to them is, a little trickier. Now that McCordsville's right up to 400, of course, you're saying, well, why can't we just jump across the street and go to McCordsville? Well, it's our territory. We want to try to serve it. But the way that I kind of see that this could benefit the redevelopment is the TIF park now, I believe, ends at Paul Deaton's property right there, that development. We're talking with Singh just west of there. He's agreed to annex that property. That could be developed for more TIF type products. And then possibly that next property that used to be the horse farm, it's right now. I think there's a possibility the back property could be incorporated into the TIF district. Beyond that, I'm saying it's probably going to be residential.
The 1,000 north lift station, Joe, what's the price tag, estimated price tag? on that?
I don't have it. In fact, I just got the latest drawing right. Probably when did I send that to you about?
So the 2 million
about
just
5
for the
o'clock.
2 million just for the 925 to 300 watt.
Right. And then also, and I don't know if this comes into play, when Adam was talking about purchasing the lot over in the current industrial park, you said that TIF started in 2003.
Yeah.
When does that expire? That should be getting ready to, we'll quit drawing funds off of that, I would think, pretty soon.
I have that information. I don't have it readily available at my fingertips.
If it was something that we needed to get incorporated, get it built out so we can start collecting the TIF dollars off of it, I'm almost afraid that as far into this as we are, by the time anybody builds on it, that TIF is going to be expired anyway.
So I have a quick question for Alex. I've heard a lot about this mural on 106, and I think it's a neat idea, but I'm going to go back to a little chastising I got for this group supporting the purchase of Christmas decorations for Main Street How does this differ? As far as improving the look of Main Street, is that something we can support?
Yes, I think so. It's towing the line. Is it a benefit to the businesses and I mean, that's up for you to just decide. I can argue that it is and defend it. So yeah, I mean, signage and those types of things are appropriate uses of RDC funds.
Okay, and then I'm going to follow that same train of thought and beautification of Broadway and Main Street. We've had discussions about this, and I know that we can assist with some initial beautification, but the maintenance is not something we can participate in, right?
Correct. Yeah, ongoing maintenance is not something that you can fund.
Okay. So I guess my biggest question for Adam and Joe, and this isn't the final question for the group, I'm sure, but all these things are great, and I'm in agreement that we shouldn't be reactionary. We should be proactive, but if we don't know how much we're spending, I don't know how we commit to anything. We can say we like projects, as Ed has expressed his desire for a couple of the projects. There's a couple on here I like. I've always been of the mindset for the last several years that we need to kind of keep a little money back for South Madison.
Yeah, I concur.
So I really don't know what can we commit to that we don't know how much we're committing.
If I'm not going to speak for Adam, but I think all he's asking you to do tonight is just put a priority list together, and then we'll get prices attached to those. And then that way you guys can figure out how you want to fund them. If you determine one project is number one on your list and you want to make it happen, we can determine if it needs to be bonded or if it's something you want to.
And I would go out on a limb again. It's not my place to speak for everybody here, but quite honestly, I don't think it matters what my priority is. I think it just matters what the town needs and the TIF district needs to make it better. I don't care what I like.
That's why we got you up there to help.
Right. But it shouldn't be up to me or Ed or Amy or anybody to say, well, no, I want that painting mural done before I want that lift station.
Right.
I would be more inclined to say, which one do we need first? Which one can we fund reasonably and get it done? And let you guys help us guide the town and help support what needs to be done. As opposed to me saying, nope, get the mural done or I ain't doing nothing. Or Ed saying, no, get that lift station done or I don't support anything. Am I wrong in my thought process?
Actually, I sent Adam an email once that I looked at the board packet saying, where is the staff or where is the city on these? And this is the kind of discussion I think we needed to have tonight, because I'm glad to know what you guys are throwing out here, some of your key ones. That helps me. But I think it's important that we get input from the town itself so we can make some decisions. Maybe we get a prioritization of not just 3 from you all, but a number of other ones and pricing, and that allows us to look at it a little differently.
I'd rank them all. I mean, since you asked, in my preference would be the 4 would be the 2 lift stations, the sewer territory, the South Madison and the traffic light. If that is truly going to help the development, if the development doesn't happen, then it gets pushed to the back burner.
But if something like that mural is and I'm making numbers up. If that's a $10,000 ask,
Yeah,
Yeah,
What-
you're exactly
what
right.
do we give a crap? I mean, it's 10 grand.
Right.
Then
it's
yeah,
not
do
that you
it.
can't go ahead and fund that.
Right. That's what I'm saying is if that mural's 100,000, the light's 300,000. Well, now we got to start
Yeah.
thinking about these
And
things.
I don't think you're in a position where you have to pick one over the other. I think you can do multiple.
But I don't think it's really beneficial to say, yeah, we like these 5 projects and those 5 projects totals $20 million.
Do
And
you like the projects?
if,
Some of it's giving them some guidance too on where
I-
to dig.
I
and-
understand, but I think if the staff has determined that these things are important, then you figure that list out and tell us then what's important to us.
So you're saying put a dollar on them, their picks, and then we'll decide what's what.
Well, it's gonna have to be you can't do studies on them and spend a lot of money trying to figure those things out, but if like we're guessing that the light's gonna be 300,000, all right, we said, all right, we could probably do that. If this trail is $3 million and that's gonna take all our money, I guess we may have to think about it, unless we're gonna bond it or do whatever.
Kind of going back to the trail, that project's gonna be a 10-year project. So that money won't have to be paid out all at once. It could be,
And you're already on, looking at MPO for some things, right?
yeah, they're, like I say, right now, they're telling us they're gonna try to get us 10 or 90% for the whole project. But right now, in the preliminary engineering, they've gotten 90% approved.
And I'm
The
not
other
trying to
projects
poo-poo the
were-
list. I'm not, my intent is not to poo-poo the list. It's just a matter of, I mean, I think everybody appreciates being asked what our opinion is, but in the
Well,
end,
and I think the big thing is we just wanted to put before you guys what we're seeing in some of the project
Right.
needs to happen. And if you look at them and say, hey, we don't agree with this and don't even consider that because we wouldn't fund it anyway, then we'll take it off the list and we'll go and try to find other ways to fund it.
from my perspective, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but I already have, so I guess I'll just keep rolling. But if we're looking to the MPO for stuff, the trails, I don't see that being a big need. That's my perspective on the trails. I see their importance, but I don't see that something that,
Or is the 10% the ask?
The 10% would be the,
okay.
now it could be, within the next 2 or 3 years, it's going to be under $200,000, but it's going to be a pretty good portion of
I
it.
think the other thing that's gonna be important for me to understand, we talked about what's the appropriate reserve, what's the appropriate amount for us to keep in the account.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at appropriately saying we don't wanna, there's a money here we got to spend. I agree with that, but how much and how much should we keep back?
Right.
That's an analysis. I don't know if that's something Buzz Crone can do for us.
Probably.
Like that.
I'm thinking, and Alex, you help me out on this, but I'm thinking part of what we're looking at is if we have projects and have some funds obligated or commitments.
Yep.
That helps us with the DLGF. If the DLGF says we've got a bunch of money sitting in the bank account and there's no project set aside, then, they're subject to say, well, you're not getting any more money. You need to
And
divvy that out.
we'll concur with that having to do with the LGF and Department of Local Government Finance in that sense. That's not unusual.
And I don't know where I got that. For some reason, I was thinking we needed to have a couple $1 million set back for South Madison. And I know that's been a big priority.
I don't think that's a problem to keep a couple $1 million sitting back. I think as long as you've got a list that saying I'm going to be spending substantially over what we've got sitting back, this is just our rainy day where we can, get processes moving, projects moving. But again, that would be an Alex or a Buzz.
Oh, no, that's not in here. Well, I personally think having a nicer house in Florida for me would really benefit the TIF district. Third time's a charm.
I wasn't going to say that.
See, I like the way you think. So who wants to add to their comments to the list? I took up a lot of time.
I'm still relatively new to the community, so I'm gonna listen to the people who've been here a lot longer. From my perspective.
Adam, let me ask you, do they need to prioritize these and put them in order, or can they just agree that these are all projects that they would like to?
Could be considered.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine too.
Well, I think Ed,
If anything, at a minimum, I think it's helpful just to literally put on paper this list to say, these are the different things that we've been thinking about. So that if they do come up in the next year or two, that there won't be any surprise as if I've never heard of this, where did this come from? So,
Scrambling, trying to find projects.
yeah, so,
his
you know,
comment on a
it's all,
couple of
let's
things.
put it this way, it's entirely up to you as a board as to how much, direction you want to provide. And if you're comfortable with saying, yeah, we agree with all of these projects to one extent or another, and we'll just look at them on a case by case when they come in based on cash flow and how much reserve, that's fine too.
Right.
I do have a question on two of them and how it would benefit the TIF district is the extension of Michigan and Monroe. Like what's the vision there that would make that up?
Yeah, that one, well, what I can say is, so in the Northwest Fortville neighborhood, the way they've got that planned out is, if the town at some point wanted to extend either Monroe or Michigan through, it could be done. Obviously, property would have to be acquired to do that. As to how it would benefit the TIF, it's probably it's not as strong a case as others, that's for sure. It does make it easier to access the TIF district, i.e. the Main Street district, but if Alex were to say off the cuff, I don't think that would meet the litmus test, and that's something
Right,
that
I
could be
just think we
taken
should-
off.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, they seem fine. on that side.
And those two things in the purchase empty lots in the business park, if the TIF is expiring, I mean, I don't see a big benefit in those, but I was gonna ask the same question, but what else you got?
Oh, Landmark, oh, good.
Go.
Landmark Park, to me, Landmark Park is, everybody likes it, everybody shows up. We do 2, 3 events there a year. I think improvements to Landmark Park where the field is not necessary. I do feel that if it comes to some building, I think the gazebo should be tore down and rebuilt, modernized with restrooms. And a big point on Landmark with me is Solomar Ditch. I think between school and Leland, either the county or the town needs to clean that up, rip it, and make it look nice instead of a swamp.
And rename it the Meyer Ditch, just saying.
So that was my feeling on Landmark. Landmark would be probably the last of my priorities.
Well, let me give you a little update on that. I know there's been a lot of discussion on Landmark Park and a lot of people want to see things happen there. And I think we're to the point to where there's several different opinions on what needs to happen and where it needs to happen. Heath is in the process. I think, I don't know if he got under contract today, but the council approved him Tuesday night to go under contract with a company to help put together a master plan for the park. And it's not Landmark Park, it's the Fortville Park System. So it'll show what we need, prioritize, and get the community's input. And we're hoping that that'll go pretty quick. And then at that point, we can maybe zero in on some of those projects a little bit more and get some better cost. And that way everybody's kind of on the same board. And that way the plan will actually be adopted and approved by the council. And that gives us a little bit cleaner on where to go with it.
One thing I'd really like to see too is if, I think that the facade projects we've done have really, really added value to town. And I think that if there's a way to maybe promote that program more, approach business owners who could benefit from that. Nudge, I think that that's one thing that we've done that is such a huge impact, and like downtown looks mostly great. And so I just think like if we could clean up some stuff on Broadway and a few more things downtown, like I think pushing that would be a really great use of funds. And like what we've done so far, it's like, it's very like, it looked like this and then it looked like this, and that's a great use of funds. And so like, I really have enjoyed those projects, and I think that they add a lot of value. And I think that, again, I think there's some businesses that maybe we could nudge a little, like we all know who they are.
Just out of curiosity, with the mural, would you consider that as a facade improvement?
Well, Ed wouldn't, because it's the side of the building.
It's right, it's facing the parking lots.
I like that, because I like the other mural we did
Yeah, I-
on,
Yeah.
Very nice, eye catching and something that you remember.
Yeah.
Helps make Fortville stand out. We're not just every other community.
I think those are great projects. And again, if they're not super expensive, we can really add some cool character to town and make downtown look really cool without spending a ton of money. None of those facade projects have been expensive.
We're talking about all of this committee, right? Being up
Yeah,
there.
our faces will be down in the bottom.
With halos.
They might be a little low.
With halos.
All right.
Yes, yes, look at Ed go.
Basketball game is over. I need to go.
Well, don't let us
But
stop
those
you.
are my 2 cents.
Well, thanks for playing.
Five.
And hockey comes on at 8.
Have
There you
fun.
go.
Okay. Did you have anything else about the list?
No, I just, I agree with everybody what they said. It'd be nice if we could possibly have an estimate dollar figure on some of them, which I know probably would be impossible, but like you say, we can address them as they come in.
So I think what I heard was, we like having a list.
Yeah.
And then the only thing maybe based upon what Amy said about facade repairs, I don't see anything on there that talks about facade repairs in general or anything.
We've already got the,
That program exists.
Okay,
yeah,
so we're already
program
there.
request.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, whether you want to fund it more than what's being funded now, that might be something to consider.
I think from the standpoint of this is just a list we're gonna work off of in the future, I'm probably okay with that, but I'm with God, I feel really comfortable raising the ones that we think are our individual or even as a group, our top 3 priorities.
I think the facade, I don't think we necessarily have to increase that overall. We can just increase that when it,
By case.
case by case, right?
Yeah.
If something comes up, you can move money from one
Yeah, we
fund
did
to
that
the
last
facade.
time.
Yeah, we allocated what? No, I mean annually, what did we say we were gonna commit? Was it 50 grand?
I think originally it was like
Yeah.
50.
So we could essentially just for a commitment of funds to reduce what we say is available, we could change that to 100,000 annually.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that's gonna reduce our,
Yeah.
but give us a little fudge room.
There's actually another project I just realized that we didn't put on there, very small.
Well, it's too late now.
But again, with the council approving the DORA ordinance, and there's some signage that's required for that. They're just small signs. They don't have to be, big billboards or anything like that, but we need to put our street sign budget's pretty limited.
I think he meant the Joe Renner, but
Oh, okay. But yeah, I think there needs to be a sign, from what I understand, that anywhere you're leaving the DORA area, it needs to have some information, let them know. Needs to be posted on the trash receptacles. And then, of course, we have to get some sort of signs that we can give to the businesses that are participating so they can
Yeah.
post it on all their exits. So there could be a little cost there that we may ask you to
Okay.
jump in here. Yeah, well,
Okay.
we need concrete up there.
You're saying you want to add that to the list, Joe, or?
Yeah.
it's a small ask, so
Yeah,
it's
it's
not.
small. I don't know if you need to add it to the
No, I-
list, but just know it's something that,
Okay.
in fact, I think there was, one of the business owners was, encouraged to come and talk to the RDC about funding, but, in talking with Alex and stuff, we really don't know what that cost is, and that probably should be, the town putting up those signs and handling it to match our ordinance and stuff.
Did we actually take any action then?
On the list?
Yeah.
No.
I don't think so.
And the only other thing we wanted your feedback on was that developer roundtable proposal. Do you all have a chance to look through that?
This mean.
So, Joe, did you have a chance to? I've just skimmed through it. We met
Okay.
with the consultants and they put together this proposal. Joe,
Yeah, something this consulting firm does is to try to help communities grow and development. And what they agreed to do is get with us, we'll identify areas that need to be developed, such as the South Madison. Not only the first section, we'll go third and fourth and get that project done. Some of the other lots that are possible for build out. The 1000 North project out there where we can, try to encourage some growth out there. But what this group would do is set up a meeting where, what they say, like 200 developers would show up, and we would boast about Fortville and tell them how great it is and what we've got available, and see if we can get some interest.
And this fee is 13,500 a month.
No, it's a one time.
completion service.
Total sum fee of 13.
Okay, oh yeah, right, I'm sorry.
I didn't get a chance to Google them in detail. You know, they've done this for other smaller communities.
I think they've done some stuff for the school. I believe they did some work, part of McCordsville's
Okay.
center, if I'm not
So we've got
mistaken.
experience in our own.
Yeah, every year when I go to the Town Managers Association meetings, Veritas is there speaking, and they do a lot of work for a lot of communities. Actually, to be honest with you, I reached out to them.
From a dollar standpoint, I don't think it's that much money, and if it gives us the opportunity to maybe engage with other developers, so we're not, you know, at the mercy of a loft or somebody else to have other ones involved, and I can see the positive of this for a fairly small amount of money.
Now, when you speak of roundtables, is this gonna involve you, Adam, town council president?
Yeah.
BZA or whoever?
Yeah, we can invite whoever, just to, you know,
Okay,
just, it would be a good idea to have a couple people from each board probably included in that. But for the most part, what this group will do is they'll have some nice presentations and stuff put together and
Yeah.
be able to kind of sell our community and what we've got available to all these developers that, you know, there may be housing developers out there that they're still wanting to stay close to the Fishers area and they're still working their way out here. But if they know like what our water and sewer capacity fees are and stuff like that, and no impact fees and stuff like that, we might entice them and they might jump the couple fields and
so
go
will
on
that
out
be
this
a
direction.
meeting here or?
I don't know if that's been determined yet, but if we can get that many people in here, this would be a great place.
It'd be
for it.
nice for the board people. It'd
Yeah.
be done at, you know, a lot of them work, so.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm breezing over this and this says developer outreach and engagement, 2 months. I mean, is this one meeting we're gonna set up or
I don't
I
recall.
don't understand the scope of work we're getting for 13.5.
Do you have it in front of you? Because you can kind
Here it is.
Sum through.
Look at it. Something to set a page about the money.
No.
You won't, well, yeah, I'm seeing doubles.
I mean, I see what it's saying here, but is it one time they're gonna do this?
I believe that they're just doing the one meeting.
It'd be
but they're-
two
is it
meetings.
Two meetings, okay.
Two developer roundtables.
Let's say round tables.
So they're gonna reach out
Developer
to,
round tables within the town of Fortville.
Mhm.
Process will involve creating marketing materials, managing events
seeing that,
under the developer roundtables on page,
oh, page 2.
yeah, page. Include creating marketing materials, managing
Okay.
logistics, set up, tear down. After events, they'll follow up with the developers.
That kind of takes some of the load off of like what Adam does or what I do, you know, from time to time, we'll, you know, be looking at a property or parcel and say, you know, this builder over here does a really good job. We ought to call them, see if they'd be interested. You know, we kind of do that on a one-off basis, but this kind of sets it up where we just put it all on the table, get all the developers come and look and.
So help me out here. This is just 2 meetings for this company.
And I think all the prep that goes behind it to get it set up, and so.
Right.
I just.
There and follow up. That's
They'll
what
be
I'm
meeting
reading.
the staff often to get all this stuff together and everything and.
Calculation, it looked like it might be like 60 hours worth of work on, if I'm using a rate of $200 an hour. I don't know what consultants are paying, but I just threw that in there. It's like 60 hours to.
Yeah, and what is there 4 or 5 of them that are
Yeah, there's
involved?
3 or 4 of them, yes.
Now, again, Alex, is this RDC money we can use?
Yeah, I think it's part of the services and engineer planning type
Okay.
of exercise that falls within your purview.
I know this is a very vague question and everybody asked it and I even mentioned it. Is there any way we can get something in writing that can give us some guidelines without, you know,
Alex, you've sent it to me before and
I have, and actually, Ed, we talked about that last night after or Tuesday night, I guess, after the council meeting. I've got a draft working. I just need to clean it up and I'll send it out and I send it to the RDC and to the town council. you should get that tomorrow.
I mean, we'll always have questions, but it'd be
Sure.
nice to have guidelines.
You got a boilerplate that takes care of some of the questions.
Yeah, well, and
Yep.
it can't be all inclusive because every community is a little
Oh, yeah.
different, so
Yep.
big thing, as long as it benefits the TIF district and it's not maintenance.
Well, I thought that about the Christmas decorations,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, and it is important what I said. It's the statutory language which gives you the framework. But one of the things that I do, and Dennis Otten and others that we do, is if there's something that's important, sometimes we can get creative and put together an argument that this does fall within what you can use the money for if it's an important issue. I prefer not having, I mean, it's a lot better when things are just clear. Yeah, it's sewer line that benefits the TIF district for freeing up capacity. I mean, that's just a no-brainer. But yeah, I'll get that out to you guys and you take a look at it.
And having known you and Dennis, I mean, you're gonna take a pretty conservative look at it anyway, if you can get into those, what you want to call those type of areas, Alex, so.
We will. Yeah,
get your creative juices flowing.
So if you're
the
looking.
last thing we want to do is set the town down a path that could come back and cause a big issue with the LGF and State Board of Accounts. So we are very conservative. But even though I guess my point better said is, even though I'll get you these guidelines and the statutory kind of here's what you can use TIF funds for, don't let that dissuade you from asking a question, right? Like, oh, it's not on the list, this isn't it. Ask, and then we'll talk through it and see if it is something that maybe we've done in some other community, or we can get there.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Mm.
I can make a motion to approve the Veritas contract for to assist with developer roundtable discussions, et cetera. With the total cost of $13,500, I think.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? There's nobody left. There you go. Hey, that was on the agenda. So we're done with our project priority list and Veritas. Review of financials. Any questions on those?
No,
Make a motion that we approve the financials as written.
I will second it.
All in favor? Aye. No opposed, because that's everybody. No invoices. Public comment.
Any public comment?
Public comment, public? You. Well, that's just rude. It's the last time we asked that. Staff comments.
Nothing for me unless you have questions on it.
You're not staff.
Close.
Okay. Board comments?
Adam, I realize you were on vacation, so we got the board back a little late.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it'd be really helpful to have it by, Monday. Before close of day, because that gives me a couple more business days to look at it. I can do it on my lunch hours at work and so
Yeah.
forth. So that'd be helpful.
Understood.
Thank you.
Anything from you? First string? Oh, all right. I got nothing. Looking for a motion to adjourn at 7:33.
Second.
So moved. Huh?
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good night.